In D.A. Caton's article entitled Choice of a Lifetime, Disability, Feminism, and Reproductive Rights, he discusses the various conflicts that exist between feminism and disability activists. Quoting several authorities on the subject, he lays out how these two ideologies are at odds, and though seemingly from a similar vein, diverge because of two competing priorities. For this video, I'd like to showcase several examples taken from Caton's article, though because of time constraints, I will not be able to include all examples and arguments. He first compares the two ideologies as being linked in the minds of most people, saying, "I suggest that the relationship between feminism and disability has largely been axiomatic. It has been taken for granted by many in both fields that disability and feminism parallel one another in those arenas which count most, chiefly among them being the relationship between the body and technoscience." In particular, he wishes to examine the specific issue of reproductive rights. And in this paper, he states that he hopes to reveal the under-theorized tensions that exist between feminism and disability theory. Quoting Marcia Saxton, "There is a key difference between the goal of the reproductive rights movement and the disability rights movement regarding reproductive freedom. The reproductive rights movement emphasizes the right to have an abortion. The disability rights movement, the right not to have an abortion." Caton surmises that the problem then is that choice can only extend so far. There's a biological horizon that choice simply cannot breach. However, through the assisted reproductive technologies, the biological horizon has shifted somewhat. The rhetoric of eugenics and the rhetoric of reproductive freedom have begun to coalesce because of these technologies. Caton states the feminist position by quoting Barbara Haler, "The right to choose an abortion as part of a claim to reproductive self-determination is central to the feminist movement." Caton further clarifies the feminist position by referring to Doe v. Bolton from 1973, which permitted unrestricted access to legal abortions. The majority in this case ruled that upon attaining viability, a fetus may be aborted if such an action is necessary to preserve the health of the pregnant woman. The court construed health very broadly, and they included physical, emotional, psychological, and familial factors, as well as the woman's age. This quickly put them at odds with disability activists who observed health and physical prowess are poor criteria of human worth. This definition of health benefits those seeking an abortion, but it does so while delegitimizing those individuals who, although in utero, face being aborted. Control over the body remains at the heart of reproductive rhetoric. It presumes that the body is something that can be controlled by the demands of the mind. Therefore, bodies don't have rights, only minds do. This is what informs the legal wrangling over reproductive rights and the ability for women to legally and safely procure an abortion. Introducing the government and state-protected and collective rights, Caton poses the question, can both the individual and a class of citizens be protected when we're dealing with the same issue? Ruth Hubbard in Abortion and Disability makes the point that contemporary technoscience threatens the very existence of people with disabilities with its potential of pruning away corporeal difference from the genetic code through screening and selective abortion. Nevertheless, Hubbard defends a woman's right to have an abortion, stating a woman must have the right to abort a fetus. But Caton asks the logical question, if abortion is to remain legal, though, then how would it be possible to protect disabled people from being aborted out of existence? And Waldschmidt referred to this as neo-eugenics. Caton says Hubbard's position can only be expressed by the Janus. Within the same breath, abortion is both reviled and defended. Such an untenable position, whereby potentially disabled fetuses are to comprise a protected class, even while abortion itself would be allowed, would produce impossible results. In order to defend people with disabilities, should then only able-bodied fetuses be destroyed? The outright killing of a child after it's been removed from its mother's body strikes us as an abhorrent practice. However, if the child is within the confines of another body, its status as human is downgraded. This has been part of the rhetoric of choice, which its most extreme has depicted a fetus as a lowly clump of cells. It is incapable of survival without assistance, and as such, it possesses no discernible subjectivity. This discursive treatment of the fetus takes on a new dimension, however, when one considers disability. Are adults who require the assistance of machines also to be considered unviable? As you can see, Caton's article demonstrates the conflict between feminism and disability when it comes to reproductive rights. The article continues, arguing on many levels, but concludes with these thoughts. Until we embrace disability non-prejudicially, it will prove impossible to protect fetuses that exhibit traits of physical and cognitive alterity. Suffice it to say, prohibitions, be they placed on technologies or behaviors, will not solve the problem. We must strive for fewer barriers and less pernicious stigmas, so that in utero disability is no more cause for alarm than any other unplanned pregnancy. I hope you've enjoyed this brief review of the dichotomy between feminism and disability rights, as presented by D.A. Caton. Thank you.